up on Mountain News this morning, the police chase led to a frantic Monday morning on the campus of Mingo Central High School in West Virginia.
And we go to Breathitt County, where there is a reward offered to anyone with more information about who is throwing full pop cans at semi-trucks, putting one driver in the hospital.
Plus, in Perry County, the search for answers in the disappearance continues. We talked to rescue officials who remember the search as if it was yesterday.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. The time is 5:30 on February 25th. I'm Madison Program.
And I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning on this Tuesday.
On this Tuesday, and the story today is not sunny weather or rain. It's fog.
Yeah, it's fog.
We hadn't had it in a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's go to Brandon Robinson. Brandon. So we might have a little rain today, but really the concern is all the fog outside right now.
This morning, yes, and we're going to see some wet roads still, some heavier pockets of rain still going on, but you're right, the fog is the major story this morning. And maybe later, if we're lucky, a peek or two of sunshine. Let's take a look and see what's going on across the region this morning. Live pinpoint Doppler radar, still some heavier bands, but they're moving pretty fast from I-64 down into the Big Sandy, and then a couple of pockets there all the way into East Tennessee. But for the most part, here's the issue. Less than 1 mile visibility in Harlan, 4 miles in London, Moorhead as well, 7 miles at Logan. So just remember, anything less than 5 miles is also very dense fog. And of course, a lot of these sensors are up on top of the ridges. Temperatures near 50 this morning. Hazard is the cooler spot in the region this morning at 44. Irvin at 51 is the hot spot. That is anywhere between 2 and 10 degrees warmer than it was this time yesterday morning. Day planner only going up to right around 60 later today, but the rain chances should wrap up by mid to late morning for all of us. We'll talk about the extended forecast in just a little bit. Madison.
Thank you, Brandon. Well, 1 year ago yesterday, Danny Napier from Perry County disappeared after heavy flooding. People called him Tin Can, and officials believed he fell into the North Fork of the Kentucky River. Crews spent weeks searching 45 miles of the river, using every resource possible, even bringing in several dog teams, wishing all the searching would have uncovered answers for the family.
Well, that's tough to see, and you know, unfortunately in these situations, you know, that's you know, there's no easy way to handle that.
Napier is described as 5'10" and 180 pounds. Anyone who may have information on Napier is still asked to call Kentucky State Police Post 13 at 606-435-6069.
The search continues for a missing woman in Scott County. Sheena Baxter disappeared more than 1 week ago. Georgetown police tell us they have looked through a car belonging to her ex-boyfriend, Joseph Hicks. He was arrested shortly following her disappearance. Police say Baxter's phone pinged at a location next to the police department where Hicks's car, a 2012 Ford Focus, was stored. They are trying to determine if Hicks had anything to do with Baxter's disappearance. Baxter's sister, Krista Crumley, hopes signs they put up will lead to answers.
I don't know why it was in his car, if that's the case, you know.
Now, court documents show in 2018 a judge issued an emergency protective order and a temporary protective order for Baxter against Hicks. Right now, he is in jail for falsely reporting a crime around the time Baxter went missing.
And now to the mystery of a missing Tennessee toddler. 2 people arrested this past weekend in connection with the disappearance of a 15-month-old Evelyn Boswell appeared in Tennessee court yesterday. Evelyn's grandmother, Angela Boswell, was arrested in North Carolina along with William McLeod. They were in a stolen vehicle that police were looking for in connection with the child's disappearance. Family members say they have not seen Evelyn in more than 2 months, but she was just reported missing last week. Authorities say they will seek to extradite Boswell and McLeod back to Tennessee.
In Knox County, a woman is charged with child endangerment after police say she was doing drugs with her toddler and infant in the house. Police say they found Jessica Schaefer holding her 2-year-old while slurring her speech and hallucinating. They say they found syringes, Suboxone, and amoxicillin prescription that did not belong to her. They say she admitted to using Suboxone and meth. The children were placed in the custody of their grandmother, and Schaefer was taken to the Knox County Detention Center.
And a frantic Monday morning on the campus of Mingo Central High School, just across the Kentucky border in West Virginia.
Yeah, a man led police on a chase, dangerously close to students outside. Here is some video sent to us from Dalton Messer. You can see there just how close it came to him and other students. Luckily, they are all safe.
And investigators eventually caught up.
A wild morning for students at Mingo Central High School.
Watch him hit me or something.
As seen in this video by Dalton Messer.
It's definitely not something that happens every day up here anywhere, but it was the talk of the school just about the entire day once it had happened.
When Zachary Fowler drove onto the school's campus Monday, spinning his side-by-side in several of the school's grassy areas.
Somebody came out here and just had fun in the mud.
Creating a chaotic energy that spread throughout the day and making students feel a little unsafe.
The thing that makes me worried is they didn't even put us on a lockdown or tell anyone about it. We just figured it out from the videos and rumors.
Investigators say Fowler is the man who came onto the campus and did donuts in several areas before driving away when the sheriff's department showed up.
I hope that they find him, and I hope that they prosecute him and punish him for what he's done.
Fowler was caught and arrested, taken into magistrate court Monday afternoon.
Go ahead and start your arraignment.
He now faces several charges.
ATV on the center line, destruction of property ×2, assault on school employee, battery ×3, fleeing with a vehicle, and obstruction ×3.
Magistrate Donald Sansom pointed out that he does not believe Fowler is taking the event seriously.
You've got to learn from your mistakes. You know, you kind of give me the impression that you're taking this a little lightly.
Officials say they hope this arrest will show others that crimes like this are more than just a little fun in the mud. In Mingo County, West Virginia, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Fowler is held on a $65,000 bond.
And more than gold, that is what platinum catalytic converters are worth. It is also only takes just a few minutes to remove them from cars. Kyler Dunn and Dakota Baker are accused of stealing 13 of them between Stanton and Clay City in Powell County. So how did Stanton Police Department catch the suspects? Well, a common thread in their investigation, a white Chevy with black wheels.
Based on the timeline, we figured, you know, they're going to be local. They're not going to be somebody that came through, stole something and left. So we started looking for that vehicle.
Now, police found most of the stolen items at an apartment complex, and Dunn and Baker were arrested and charged with theft and receiving stolen property. Additional charges may be coming for the pair as more people could come forward.
We now know more about a reward for information leading to an arrest. Last Friday, semi-trucks were hit with full Coke cans, sending one driver to the hospital. Well, I went to Breathitt County to learn what officials are saying about it. They are dangerous random attacks.
In an incident like this, they're throwing it at the headlights. You know, they're lofting it toward the front of the trucks as they're passing.
On semi-trucks along Kentucky 15.
Both trucks, I believe, to be hit twice. The second truck in line in succession received the most serious damage. Hit the pop can. They're throwing full pop cans. This pop can hit dead center in the windshield.
It is happening at the Breathitt and Wolfe County line in the early morning hours.
Because of the hours, most people are still in bed.
Officials believe the timeline is leading them towards people who travel out of eastern Kentucky for work.
More than likely, it'll prove to be just something that these young adults believe to be a prank or something funny to entertain themselves on their way to work, and they've not realized how dangerous it is.
Dangerous for the truck drivers and others who may be tailing behind.
Say it's a toxic, say it's a chemical truck, say it's they're hauling fluids that, if they wreck, then they're going to contaminate the earth. The spillage is going to run into the ditch lines, which could contaminate our water supply. They could hit a family of 4 trying to go to school.
Hoping the reward will spell a quick end to this dangerous act. Now, a driver was injured in Friday's incident. He was taken to the hospital, but is now released and is doing okay.
And one Laurel County man is behind bars after neighbors heard a fight and called 911. Deputies arrested Daniel Hornsby at his home on Parker Road after investigators say they found him strangling a woman, even after police ordered him to stop. After police wrestled with him, he was charged with strangulation. That's a new charge here in Kentucky and carries a possible 10-year sentence. Deputies tell us under similar circumstances last year, Hornsby would have been charged with a Class A misdemeanor. Now it can be a Class C or Class D felony.
The strangulation charges are a Class C felony and a Class D felony, so the penalties are a lot stricter, which is better for us and better for the victim.
Police tell us the victim refused treatment.
To Ashland now, where state police found a man with large amounts of meth during a traffic stop Saturday. They arrested 23-year-old Chad Trusty. Inside his car, investigators say they found 137 grams of meth and some narcotics. He faces several drug charges.
In Kentucky tops a new report for the number of people testing positive for fentanyl. Millennial Health analyzed more than 1 million urine tests to arrive at the finding. The study showed around 16% of the samples tested positive for fentanyl. Kentucky also ranks in the top 10 for cocaine, meth, and heroin. Nationwide, the study showed an increase in positive tests for meth and fentanyl, but a decrease for cocaine and heroin.
Governor Andy Beshear made stops in eastern Kentucky yesterday, one in Hazard, the other in the city of Jackson.
WYMT's Connor James was in Hazard, where more than $4 million in funding was announced.
Good to see y'all. Thanks for coming out.
Greeted by Hazard's band and Perry Central's cheerleaders, Governor Andy Beshear stopped in Hazard Monday.
So I put $100 million in this proposed budget just for rural road safety.
He focused on a variety of topics from infrastructure to the importance of rural hospitals. Governor Beshear also emphasized bringing coal severance money back to the communities they come from.
Now, there aren't enough of those dollars anymore, and every remaining dollar ought to come back to help build these communities up. It's just the right thing to do.
Two major grant announcements were awarded to the Perry County Fiscal Court. $500,000 to work on the Route 80 water systems interconnect and more than $3.5 million in funding to redo the Psych Center as they look to bring another 200 jobs.
We feel like it's going to be really what's going to help us ignite more economic growth.
We invest in, if it's infrastructure, we continue to help lift these communities up, then we will start seeing businesses come back. We'll see a diversification of our economy.
Along the lines of diversification, Beshear talked about his idea of what that could look like in eastern Kentucky.
Well, we've got to start looking at new industries and new areas, what the economy will look like in the next 30 years, and let's pick things we can be number one in, like agriculture technology.
In that, he mentioned the vision of App Harvest and the work the USA Drone Port is doing. In Hazard, Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, Beshear also stopped in Jackson later that afternoon. There he announced about $2 million in funding to help replace more than 16,000 feet of outdated water lines in Breathitt County.
Later on Mountain News this morning, we now have answers after a jury reached a verdict Monday in the Harvey Weinstein case.
The forecast will start to trend more toward the cold side to wrap up the month of February. How cold are we talking? The answer in about 3 minutes.